Who would ever suspect a clueless dork who claims to be a thief? A man by the name of Dalet is on the brink of losing his assigned role as the village thief. Due to his father's passing, the village elders had appointed Dalet to be the new generation to continue the role. The reason the village needs a thief is so that no one else in the village robs one another. This proves to be difficult as Dalet isn't the brightest of men. His lack of sense for value causes issues for his acts to be taken seriously. Things suddenly turn for the better one day when Dalet notices Avram, a former well-known baker, carrying mysterious shiny object and scurrying to his home. His fate will be revealed in the exciting telling of Dalet the Thief by Jonathan Keats, reimagined by Carlos Butron. Once upon a time, there was a small village by the name of Covenant, full of people with roles to fulfill in their small society. In Covenant, there were such roles as a baker, a shoemaker, a rug maker, and other similar things. One of the many roles that were a part of Covenant's society was the village thief. It was a role that was supposed to be for one man, all by himself. The name of that man was Dalet. Dalet was not the sharpest tool in the shed when it came to his job. He was unable to correctly identify the worth of objects to the other villagers. Instead of stealing unique and precious items, he would snatch up ordinary and common belongings. The purpose for him being a thief was so that no one else in Covenant would rob one another. He was facing a major risk of being deemed incompetent. The village elders feared that due to his shortcomings, a major turn of events would hit Covenant. He had been issued a final heed of warning by them via a parchment.
I just don't understand this. Why is it that no one reclaims their stolen goods? I have them in my posse Zion. They are missing. Not accounted for. How would the shoemaker clean without his grease? How can the teacher teach without her ruler?
Proclaimed Dalet. Suddenly, as he was looking out through his window, he caught a glimmer of something. He saw Avram the former baker walking along the path in a suspicious manner. As Dalet peered closer, he saw an object within Avram's hands. It had sparkled and shimmered at him. Upon squinting his eyes, he had noticed that Avram was carrying a pink jewel.
How in the world did Avram the baker get such an item? There is no possible way that he can afford such a heavy-looking rock. Oh no. This can only mean one thing. People are starting to take my role. The village elders will surely fire me if word gets out that Avram stole. I must put a stop to this. I'll take what he took and have the original owner come to me instead. No one can replace me.
Dalet had cried within his idiot. Unbeknownst to Dalet, Avram was no longer a baker. He had gathered enough money and supplies to create a franchise upon his baked goods. He owned multiple baking stations that created things off of his recipes and dispersed them as traded goods across other lands. Avram had collected enough money to add this gem to his collection.
Finally, with my old man out of the picture, I can now be the proud owner of the family heirloom. This cost me quite the pretty penny. It's getting late. I should hurry on home and show this off tomorrow. In the meantime, this can hide in the back room.
Avram thought to himself. That same night, Dalet had planned on stealing the jewel. He had sneaked through the night, taking the edge of the village by the trees to sneak around. The moonlight had let him see through his dark path. Once he reached Avram's backyard, he jumped over the small fence. Whilst Dalet was thinking of ways to break in and search, the moonlight had shined upon a window. As Dalet approached it, he saw that it led straight into the room with the pink jewel. There it was, on top of a pillow that was held above a pedestal.
That fool. He has forgotten to close his curtains and his window.
As he slithered in quietly, he got closer to the jewel. There it was, right in front of his very two eyes. It sparkled so brightly, and yet was able to reflect his own image in the room. That's when Dalet had noticed the entire room was filled with other similar jewels.
That fiend. He had been stealing these for quite some time now. I'll show him.
As Dalet reached for the pink jewel, it had given him a vision. He could see how unique and important certain objects were. It had opened his mind.
I see now. Avram will have to pay me tenfold if he ever wants these back.
Dalet dashed back to his home. From that day on, Dalet had been a respected thief. He had cleared his name and became a successful thief. He had no fears, only 4 unique objects. The village of Covenant had their thief and his name was Dalet.